Welcome Round Rock ISD families to our online family connection series. We are so pleased that you're able to join us and watch this video. My name is Jyoti Apia and I'm one of the parent liaisons from our parent team. Recently, we released a video recording on grit. Thanks to those that have watched the video and have sent us some questions. We really appreciate your input. So today's video recording continues with our Building Resilient Kids series, and we are really wanting to expand on what grit is. I'm joined today by Dr. Lashanda Lewis, our very own expert from Round Rock ISD. Dr. Lewis is the district's Counselling Services Coordinator and has a wealth of knowledge that she'd like to share with you all. So welcome, Dr. Lewis, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So you've heard a little bit about our series on building resilient kids and how we want to focus on building grit. So tell me, Dr. Lewis, what is grit to you and why is it so important?
Well, thank you again for having me join you today. And I really want to thank you all for putting on this series because I do think it's valuable information for our parents. So thank you. So when I explain grit to adults, I really say it's perseverance and long-term goal setting and the passion that an individual has for that. But if I'm talking to children, I'm really going to say it's working towards your goals and when it gets tough, not giving up. We like to tell people that you want to write down your goals. You have your big overarching goal, but within that, you also want to write down your smaller goals because writing them down helps you to keep them focused, helps you to remember what those are, but making smaller goals helps you to baby step your way to that larger goal. And your smaller goals will also allow you to have those celebrations because we know whatever our goal may be, whatever our big overarching goal may be, it can be difficult to reach that goal. And by making some smaller goals, it helps you to have some celebrations along the way to reaching that major goal. And when we're talking about grit, we know that there's going to be obstacles that come in the way of us getting to those goals. There's going to be sometimes some barriers. And if we can write down our goals, focus on those smaller goals, when those obstacles or when those challenges come to us, having some grit will allow us to reevaluate, where we're going, but then also say, you know what, this may have happened, but I can still move forward. So that's how I would sum up grit. And then also just keeping in mind, especially with the times that we're in right now, or our COVID times, that perseverance is key. We like to say when we're talking with our athletes, or people who are kind of naturally talented in a certain area, it's important that you have some perseverance because we say natural ability doesn't always equate to success. We know that hard work is always going to get you further than just your natural ability. So making sure that you are dedicating yourself to your goal and pushing yourself when times get hard.
So can you give examples of what grit is? As a parent, sometimes it's hard to have substance to what a word means. Like, when you ask someone to smile, you know exactly what that means, right? But what is grit? Can you give examples of what grit is and what it looks like?
Well, my favorite quote when it comes to grit or perseverance or working hard, because you can interchange those words, is from Michael Jordan. And I know that dates me a little bit, but at the same time, I think Michael Jordan is one of those people that people of all ages know who he is. And the quote that stands out to me from him is, I have failed many times, and that is why I succeed. Michael Jordan did not make his junior varsity basketball team. He talks about in his career missing 9,000 shots that he took. He talks about 26 of those shots coming at the end of a game where he could have won the game. Now, when we think about Michael Jordan, we think about those big moments where he hit the game-winning shot and won, the game or the championship for everyone. So we don't think about those moments where he failed. But if he had stopped when he failed, then those memories that we have would not be there. So that is my biggest example of grit, coming from someone that many people know, is not giving up when you have failed, pushing through. When we talk about our younger kids, the one thing as I was preparing for today that stood out to me, and this may seem a little trivial, is tying our shoes. Like, we all have to learn to tie our shoes. And the very first time we teach our kids, we sit down with them and we're like, do the little bunny ear or whatever method you use, they don't get it. But eventually they learn to tie their shoes. And it's not something that we ever really like, oh, you did a great job tying your shoes, or remember the time you had a hard time tying your shoes. But it is a time that was challenging for them, but they overcame it. So I can't really say, for everyone, this is a time or this is an example for you, but we all have times as adults, as children, where we have overcome something that was challenging for us and that we have become successful at. And so I would say to parents, really reflect on yourself as a parent, and even as for your children, help them reflect on what was something that was really challenging for you that you overcame. And sometimes we think it has to be this big, huge challenge, like I conquered Mount Everest. It doesn't have to be that. It could be tying my shoe. It could be learning to ride my bike. It could be doing something that was in class, overcoming a difficult homework assignment, just helping them to find that one little thing that where it was hard, but then they were successful at it.
That is a great example of tying the shoes, because I've had that with my own kids completely. So thank you so much. Those are very profound examples, I think, especially when you kind of helping parents to understand with their children, like an experience that they've had. So even learning a math equation is difficult, especially even in middle school, but to continue and work hard and practice and try again. That's how our parents and children can overcome challenges, for adults as well, like you've said.
I would say that my first probably rule of thumb for parents is allowing your kids to fail. And I know that may sound a bit shocking, but especially now, and I am guilty of it myself sometimes, but we want to be there to protect our kids, and we want to shelter them from any hurt or pain that they feel, whether it's physical or emotional. But sometimes allowing them to experience some of those failures is going to teach them what they need to do to move on past difficult situations. It's also going to teach them that they're resilient and that they can learn from their failures. Ultimately, all of our kids, we hope to grow up and be happy, successful adults and move out of our houses at one point in time. We think about that. We're going to probably be sad when it happens, but we want them to move out and become the adults that they dream to be. But in that process, we also want to make sure that they have all the skills that they need to be that happy, successful adult. And it requires them to work through some times when they're going to fail, work through some hard times. And we want to foster that and help them develop that when they're within our household. We don't want that to be a lesson that they learn when they get out into the real world. I would also say, I kind of touched on this earlier, but helping your child to recognize times where they were successful. And again, these may not be those big hooray events like you really pulled yourself physically through something. It may be a small success. So helping them realize how they moved from being at that place where it was difficult, where they probably really wanted to give up, but how they moved from that point to the point of success for them. And then I would also say, talking with your kids about your own personal triumphs. I mean, none of us got to where we are today without some type of roadblocks or some failures or having to change our plans. Talking to your child about those and how you overcame it. And then allowing them to kind of see you struggle through some stuff. I know right now, especially with COVID, it can be really hard, and we want to shelter our kids from a lot of things that may be hurtful for them or makes them challenge some of the emotions that they have. But if they can see within us that we are vulnerable as well and that we struggle with some things, it's going to teach them that it's okay to have those feelings and it's okay to move through them as well. And then I guess one other thing I would say is when your child is having difficulty in something, and it could be something small, it could be something big, sitting down with them and having that conversation about what is it that you can do to help you move forward. Let's think about some things that you've done in the past. Can we apply some things that work for you to this situation to help you move forward? And I would say parents, and this is going to be hard, is not doing it for them. Don't come up with the solution for them. You can help guide them toward it, but don't come up with a solution for them. And then also recognizing that your kids are unique and that you may have one child that if they do this, it's going to work for them, but the other child may not be able to use that same skill and have it work for them. So I guess in summary is show it in yourself, let your kids see you work through it, and allow them to reflect on ways that they've been successful and brainstorm on ways that they can be successful in the future.
So that sounds great. Thank you. So we're coming to the end of our video, everyone, and we hope that you found this super helpful. I certainly have. And once we finish recording, you'll see a slide coming up on the screen, and it will have our parent team's email address on there. So please reach out if you have any questions after you've listened to this video, or any wonderings, or even any feedback. Please reach out to us and let us know. And we'll have a slide following this video that will also have some resources for you as parents that you can access for you and your children. So have a wonderful day, everyone, and stay safe. And thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.